Your toddler was sleeping through the night. Then, without explanation, they stopped. Broken nights again, exhausted days again. And one question, is something wrong? Almost never. Roughly 1 in 4 toddlers goes through repeated waves of night waking before age 3. Here is what is actually happening. It often lands between 18 months and 2.5 years, long after everyone declared the sleep battle's won. What parents see looks like forgetting. A child who slept independently now wants help again, clingier at night, more sensitive to everything. And the worried questions arrive fast. Have we created bad habits? Did we ruin the routine? Are we back at square one? The answer is usually no. Because sleep is not a skill that develops in a straight line, mastered once and kept forever. Sleep changes as development changes. And toddler development never stops. Not during the day, and not at 3 in the morning. So before you rebuild bedtime from scratch, it helps to know what is really waking your toddler. It is rarely what parents assume. To see it clearly, we need to visit your toddler's brain during the night shift. Because sleep is anything but quiet in there. During toddlerhood, the brain develops at an incredible pace. Language is growing, memory is growing, imagination, social awareness, emotional awareness, all growing at once. And every one of those developments affects sleep. Your toddler does not stop developing just because their eyes are closed. Scientists watch this in sleep studies. Deep sleep and dream sleep take turns all night, and toddlers spend far more time dreaming than adults. In many ways, sleep is when the brain processes everything learned during the day, filing, sorting, strengthening, connection by connection. Sometimes, that processing is heavy. A day full of new words, new faces, new feelings, gives the night shift a lot to handle. And sometimes the workload spills over, processing creates temporary disruptions, and a busy brain surfaces from sleep more easily than a quiet one. That is why night waking so often returns right after visible progress, a vocabulary burst, a new social skill, a memory leap. Between those cycles, everyone briefly surfaces, adults included. The difference is what happens next. Adults roll over, a processing toddler calls out. The waking is not the opposite of development. Very often, it is the sound of development, leaking into the night. But here is something many parents never realize. Not every waking comes from a problem. Some come from something wonderful. Around toddlerhood, imagination begins expanding rapidly. Your toddler starts picturing things that are not in front of them, stories, scenarios, possibilities. This is wonderful during the day, pretend play, invented friends, wild ideas. At night, that same new power changes what sleep feels like. Dreams become more vivid. And while toddlers may not understand what a dream is yet, the emotions dreams create feel completely real. Around age 2, many toddlers also begin remembering their dreams into the morning. The line between dreamed and real stays blurry for years. A scary dream. A confusing dream. A strange dream about the dog wearing shoes. Any of them can wake a toddler seeking comfort. Night fears work the same way. The dark stops being empty and starts being full of possibilities, because imagination now fills every gap. So, a toddler crying at 2 a.m. may not have a sleep problem. They may have a brand new imagination, working overtime. Comfort is the right response. You are not rewarding bad behavior. You are helping a small person handle feelings they cannot name yet. As understanding grows, dreams slowly lose their power to frighten. The imagination stays, the midnight confusion fades. Until then, a nightlight, a favorite comfort object, and your calm presence do more than any sleep technique ever will. Imagination is one hidden cause. But there is another common one, and it almost always gets blamed on the parents themselves. Parents frequently notice that sleep worsens after illness, even when the illness itself is over. The fever ends. The wakings continue. Here is why. During difficult periods, children receive extra comfort, more cuddles, more presents, more help falling asleep, completely normal. And completely right. Afterward, toddlers sometimes keep seeking that comfort while they readjust. That is not a bad habit you created, that is a transition. And transitions take time. Your child is finding their way back to normal, at toddler speed. Not adult speed. Travel and holidays reset sleep the same way. New rooms, new sounds, missed naps. Expect a settling week after every adventure. Then there is temperament. Every child is different. Some toddlers are naturally more sensitive. Some are more adaptable. Some notice every environmental change, a new sound, a different blanket, a shifted nap. Others could sleep through a marching band. Temperament plays a huge role in sleep behavior. That is why comparing your toddler to another child rarely helps anyone. Sensitive sleepers are not broken sleepers. The same alertness that costs sleep now often becomes attention to detail later. Their brain is developing in its own unique way, on its own schedule. And hidden inside these wakings, there is actually good news. This may sound strange, but many sleep disruptions reveal important developmental progress happening right now, underneath the exhaustion. Language, memory, attachment, imagination, problem solving, these skills often emerge right alongside temporary sleep disruption. Researchers even find that fussier, more wakeful phases often line up with measurable jumps in language and memory testing. In other words, sometimes the sleep challenge is evidence that growth is happening. The bad nights and the big leaps travel together, which makes the biggest parent mistake easier to understand and easier to avoid. Assuming every night waking is a sleep problem. Sometimes it is a developmental phase, sometimes it is emotional, sometimes cognitive, sometimes just a temporary adjustment after a strange week. When parents panic and change everything at once, they often create more inconsistency than the original issue ever did. New rules, new routines, new experiments every night. To a toddler, that is not help, that is unpredictability stacked on confusion. The steadier answer is boring, on purpose. Same bedtime, same order, same response at 3 a.m., repeated until the wave passes. The goal is not perfection. The goal is understanding what is driving the behavior. And there is a simple way to find out. Play detective with the bigger picture. Has your toddler recently learned lots of new words? Started daycare? Become more clingy? Any schedule changes? A recent illness? A big developmental leap? Those clues usually point straight at what is really behind the wake. Write the clues down if the nights blur together. 3 days of notes often reveal a pattern: no exhausted brain spots at night. Once you see the cause, the fix is rarely dramatic. Keep the routine consistent. Offer calm reassurance. Let the phase pass through. So if your toddler has started waking again, breathe. You are not back at the beginning, and you have not ruined sleep. You are watching a developing child move through another stage of growth. It feels exhausting, because it is. And it is temporary. And if waking comes with fever, pain, breathing trouble, or simply your gut saying something is off, ask your pediatrician. Trust that instinct. Next time it happens after weeks of calm, remember what you might really be seeing. A growing imagination, a growing awareness, a growing brain. Toddler sleep does not move in a straight line. It grows alongside everything else. And sometimes growth is noisy. Even at 3 a.m., subscribe if this helped, share it with a parent in this exact phase, and comment, what is your toddler doing today that needs explaining?